There we go.
Lund Boats proudly presents the ultimate fishing experience. This week on Lund's The Ultimate Fishing Experience, we're exploring the upper Mississippi River in search of its burgeoning channel catfish population. From its headwaters, winding through northern Minnesota's forests, the upper Mississippi River has long been famous for its incredible smallmouth, walleye, and muskie fishing. But now, there's a new kid in town, channel cats.
Wow, look at that leaping
careful.
cats. Ever seen that?
Wow.
And when you now have catfish practically swimming in your backyard like James and Nick Lindner, it's impossible not to take advantage of it. James and son Nick have explored many North Country cat rivers, and they've perfected a run-and-gun, anchor-free approach to quickly search out river cats.
No question about it. It seems like the activity level is getting quite a bit better. How many fish have we boated today?
Let's say we're at least 30 today.
Not too bad.
Solid day.
Beautiful fall afternoon, and the thing is, it's only gonna get better as the water gets colder. I think we're just about ready here, Nick. I think that's the remainder of our rods. Today we got a really interesting mission for you. We're going catfishing. You know, Nick and I for years have fished for catfish. It's unquestionably one of our favorite fish to fish for. We live in central Minnesota, and the interesting thing is, northern cat fisheries are really bypassed. I mean, I'm talking North Dakota, South Dakota, Minnesota, Wisconsin. We have absolutely some of the finest catfishing in North America.
Yeah, I mean, catfishing is one of the most popular fish to fish for in the U.S.
It's true.
But not here.
How many people do we see out in the water on these rivers?
Usually none.
Zero. It should be an interesting mission. You know, a lot of people think that catfishing is really simple. Hook, line, and sinker. You go over to the river and you throw a bait in or a cut bait on the bottom and you're gonna catch catfish. But realistically, like any river fish, catfish move a lot based on three different things: current, water clarity, water level. The water levels in the river that we're fishing today have actually dropped about 3 feet over the last week and a half. And I can guarantee you one thing, that's gonna change the position of the catfish. As a matter of fact, all the different fish in this river. And that's what we're gonna look at, about some understanding how these fish move around and subtleties of understanding the nature of fish in rivers. Got him?
Yep.
Size.
We'll see. I'm hoping for the best.
You know, all fish in rivers, including catfish, move dramatically based on the environmental conditions that they're in. As of recently, when you look on the bank here, you can see that 3 or 4 feet of exposed mud. Realistically, this water levels in this river has dropped like 3 feet vertically. So what we've been targeting today is actually, or started on, was a little bit deeper holes in the heads of these deeper holes on the corner bends, as well as main river channel wood like that, what we got right here. And we got one of them little whippersnappers on. But the thing is every time you know, if the water levels were, you know, a little bit higher, like 3 weeks ago, we would have been targeting the wood that was actually on the bank. And right now, with that water level dropping, the fish have moved, and they move pretty darn quickly. And that's one thing, you know, a lot of people say catfishing is so simple. You know, it's a hook, line, and sinker. But realistically, to be successful, to catch fish, and any environment or any, you have to move with the fish. Here's a nice little guy. This is what we're targeting right here. Come here, buddy. He's a nice little fiddler. Come here, buddy. There we go, Nick. Now we're starting to get to more of the animals we need right there. He's not a biggie, but there's a lot of these in this system right now. But in the next probably 6 or 8 years, this fishery in this section of river is going to be just fabulous.
I love keeping fishing simple and productive, and I do so through the use of the right tools for the job. Springtime crappie fishing is a great example. Shallow, mud-bottom bays are the first to warm, and crappies quickly fill these areas. Pay close attention to your fish finder's temperature readout. 62 to 65 degrees puts you in the zone. Target hard-stem bulrush areas with a tungsten jig paired with an insect-profiled plastic rigged under a float. Live bait is rarely needed. A quiet and powerful trolling motor moves you stealthily along in your search. When I find fish, I deploy my talons to quietly pin the boat in place. This allows me to stay off the trolling motor and target cast to key areas. Trolling motors equipped with Minn Kota's GPS-enabled spot lock are another good option to pin the boat in place so you can focus on fishing.
Crappies in the shallows, tough to beat.
Closed captioning is brought to you by Mercury Marine. Go boldly.
But they're fun fish to catch. They really are. You get in the right situation, you can really go crank through some numbers of fish. I mean, what it's in some cases, we're actually, when we go out fishing for the day, we calculate our fish not in numbers, but in pounds. And sometimes it's hundreds of pounds is the day of fishing. So it's fun. It's a numbers routine.
Dad was saying we're fishing a mid-river log jam right now. And typically what we like to do is we like to run up or down the river, and we'll stop in front of one of these spots and give it maybe 10 minutes. And typically you'll cast out there, give the fish a couple minutes to come check your bait out. And if you don't get drilled fairly quickly, you usually don't end up getting drilled. So we like to move, jump around from spot to spot.
We're just targeting the active ones, and that's why we move relatively quickly. You know, one thing about catfishing, you're generally fishing from an anchored position. Normally, I've always fished with an anchor in our boat. Right now, we're fishing with the Minn Kota Tarovan. What I have a feature on this trolling motor called Spot Lock, and it's just a fabulous tool for catfishing in the fact that I just hit my anchor button here right now. The boat is anchored. It's that quick. Right now we're in sort of transition actually. In the not so distant future, this water temperature is going to start once it gets into the 50-degree range. Right now we're at 65 or so. Gets in the 50-degree range in fall, and those fish will really start changing their whole mood, where you're not going to see them on these log jams anymore. They're all going to gravitate to really deep holes, and really selectively the deepest holes within any given river section. There, got him there.
How does she feel?
A little bit better one. Yep. Ooh. Ooh, look at that. Huh. I like that. So you get those. It's a male though. You can see these catfish. They actually, the males versus the females. The males actually have like a big round heads on them, where the females have a lot more of a slick look to them. And you can see that this is a sort of a moderate-sized male. Yeah. That's what I mean by flattening that barb out. It's a lot easier to take the hook out, especially when you're catching a lot of fish. A little fatso, look at that guy there. He's been sitting on the bottom, a little mud on his belly. We'll get her back in the water. Come here, buddy. They're fun to catch though. Oop. You notice what we have here, everything in catfishing, we got a sort of efficiency. We've been doing this for years. And what we have here, I just have a bucket. But the thing is what inside here, I actually have ice. And then what we do is chop up our cut bait. In this particular case, we're using fresh cut suckers, and that sort of keeps it fresh, and it just makes it a lot more efficient, so we don't have to keep on repetitively cutting up bait. We only cut up bait once or twice a day. We'll go through, cut them all up, put them in here, and it keeps your bait fresh. It's really sort of nice, particularly when you're in warmer conditions. You know, this is typical of a spot like that, and we actually had a number of bites. I caught one fish, but you don't spend a lot of time. You go up there, and the thing is, you got the active fish, you know, pick up and move. The boat we're fishing in today is a really cool boat. This is a Lund's Predator series. This is the 1870. Comes in 4 different sizes, 16, a 17, an 18, and a 20 footer. It has an all welded design, mod V hull. The thing is that's really nice about this particular boat, which we're running in, it's got the 2 larger ones, the 18 and the 20 footer, has a center console, which is really fabulous for fishing conditions like we have here. Shallow water rivers, reservoirs where you have a lot of cover and junk in the water. It gives you the ability to really have a really good vision on the water in front of you. No question about it. Hunting, if you're hauling equipment, it's got a lot of space, a lot of storage in it. Live wells, it's got the sports track to position rod holders up and down the boat, whether you're fishing for stripers, catfish, crappies. Looks like we're getting close to our next hole here, but it's a really, really nice boat. You know, electronics are sort of really handy in the fact that it gives you identify specific holes and shallow flats and the runs within the river itself. On my Helix 7 here, I actually have a feature in it called Auto Chart Live. This particular section of river, like so many rivers in North America, is uncharted. And so what I can actually do, I turn the program on and I'm actually making a high definition contour map of this river as we're moving along. Actually, you can see I've only been through this section of river like 3 or 4 times. I need to make a couple of more passes here and I'm going to have a really well-defined map of this Mississippi River section right in here, which is really cool. It is, this Auto Chart Live. It's sort of an amazing tool. We use it a lot, not only for rivers, but we go up to far North Canadian lakes. It's just a really sort of a cool feature to make a high resolution map of the water you're fishing.
So growing up, we used to do annual trips up to the Red River. And that was because there wasn't necessarily a lot of great catfishing around where we live. And the Red River is world class, of course.
They used to be catfish in the lower Mississippi below the Ford Dam in Minneapolis, and the fish have been gradually moving farther and farther north, where now we got them in the St. Cloud Pool, the Royalton Pool, the Brainerd Pool, which is the next pool down. In the last number of years, we've been hearing them up here, and this seems like this population of fish is growing really pretty quickly, you know, and the interesting thing is the quality of the fishery, and it really affords people some really unique fishing opportunities to take advantage of. Ooh, there's a better one.
There you go.
There's some hot cat action. I like that, it's a better one too. Oh, there's a lot of smaller fish in those holes, but it seems like these big ones we get on this wood piles, and that's where a little bit, a grade above fish are. Come here. This is a little bit better, boy. This guy here, he's
better?
almost, yeah, he's almost a net model. Yeah, there we go, come on. There we go. Come here, buddy. Come here.
Sneak up here.
Oh boy, wow. Ooh.
Wow, this could be a better one.
Yeah, I know. He's a real rough and tumble. I bet it's a big male. It's a big bullhead, I know that much. This guy, as you can see, look at that. Come here, there you go, come on. Now we're talking. Ooh, ooh, there you go. You know, that's what, I mean, these fish here, you know, we just came up here, last year was the first year that we came up to explore this fishery. And you know, when you come up and you start catching a day where you catch a whole bunch of fish that are like this guy here, that makes for some hot fishing. And pretty soon we're gonna have Nick's son out here. He was actually out here this spring with us, who's a 5-year-old, and he loves fishing cats too. It's really, but boy, isn't that a beautiful fish? That's a big male there. But this is about as large as the ones that we've been catching in this section of the river. Both Nick and I are, right now, we're fishing pretty heavy wood cover, and we're using the same rods. This is a Mojo cat rod. This is made by St. Croix, 8-foot medium power rod. And then it's spooled with a Alexa 300 reel. This is an HD. It's a real fast action reel, which is nice in the fact that when you hook a fish, you can reel up and it picks up a lot of line really quickly. We have it spooled with 65-pound braided line. And then what we have is a simple no-roll sinker, 3-ounce sinker barrel swivel, a little piece of fluorocarbon leader. This is a 17-pound test. The thing is, you want to use lighter material for your leader line, in the fact that when you do get hung in the wood, we just break this off and we retie a new leader and hook. You're not losing the whole rig. In some cases, we're using both an octopus hook, and sometimes we're using a circle hook. Circle hooks are nice in the fact when you're fishing around wood, you don't get hung up as much. But on the other hand, it's sometimes, if the fish aren't hitting really good, it seems like you're better hooking percentage with a straight octopus, a classic octopus hook. So that's the simple rod and reel that we're using. Position the bait out there and wait for the fish to come to you.
So one thing that we're doing right now is we're running 3-ounce sinkers. And in a lot of ways that might seem a little bit like overkill, but there's a couple advantages when you're fishing around cover like this. And one is casting. It's a lot easier to cast a little bit of a heavier weight for precision casting. A lot of times we're trying to put in a specific part of the cover, whether it's the front or the back end or the current seam on the side. And number two is that the weight itself will sink down to the bottom quickly, so when you're trying to put it on a specific spot, it'll get down to that spot fast. It won't drift off, it won't drift into the cover, which could also be a problem, and wait for the fish to come get it.
A little bit better.
Nice.
A wee bit better. He came out of pretty darn deep water. Some of these fish are actually starting to get it sort of set up around their wintering holes. If this water dropping out so much, so fast. We came into a deep water corner bend. I spent a little time out there. There's some fish, definitely some fish out there. The interesting thing is like this particular spot I'm in right now, which is like a 30-foot hole. You know, and there's some fish here probably in a month from now. This will be literally catfish soup in here. There will be so many fish in here, it'll be just absolutely stunning. I mean, there'll literally be the entire population for miles of this river will be piled up in very limited number of holes.
When muskies start living up to their reputation as the fish of 10,000 casts, it may be time to consider live bait. The real meal deal is tough to beat if catching is paramount to you. Rig big sucker minnows on a quick strike rig and suspend beneath a float. I target fish around large main lake structures with abundant forage. Then take your minnow for a walk around the park. The Minn Kota Ultrex greatly simplifies boat control with its iPilot Link functionality and built-in spot lock for instantaneous digital anchoring. You stay pinned to your spot, hands-free when rigging bait, fighting fish, and handling and releasing, all without losing your position.
You got him. That a boy. Pretty. That's pretty, dude. Sweet. Muskie in the boat. Live bait is a hard presentation to beat in the fall. Any time of the year for that matter.
Well, we caught one immediately and we didn't have any more strikes, so what I'm going to do is reposition. And that's one thing that's really nice with this spot lock, and I'll show you what I mean. I'm going to just reposition and we're going to slide that way a little bit.
Then we're going to target the middle of the pile.
Yep. Whoop, a little bit more. Now you can see we're repositioned. This whole thing is deep. It's deep on the left side as well as on the right-hand side of this log jam. The thing is, where we repositioned here again, you can see we're straight down, direct access to our sinker, and that's how long it takes to get a bite. It was that fast. That's what I mean. Come here, buddy. Ooh, get another one, Nick.
Got a nibbler.
The interesting thing is in what we've been seeing all day today, we get in that anchor position, we catch one, and it's almost like so odd that we're almost better off to move right now, to move to our next position. It's really odd. We get one out of every position immediately, but then we'll sit there for a period of time and we don't get any more strikes. See how we're going right down to the bottom? See, it's pretty deep there. It's probably 17 foot deep in front of that log jam. Maybe he's got some buddies in there.
Hopefully it's not his buddies. Hopefully it's his grandparents.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm going for. Getting bit a little.
Nibbler?
Yeah.
Why don't you get him? Ooh, get him, Nick.
There we go. Nice.
Ooh, double header out of a one spot.
Felt him running through some sticks underneath. That was very dangerous.
Yeah.
That's one pretty important thing when you're fishing wood like this is you want a stout setup so you can get that fish out of there, because that can cause issues. Another little fiddler.
Listen to him.
Yeah, listen to her purr.
Alright. Ooh, there, got him that time. Ooh, there he is. Ooh, I don't know, that guy. There he is. It's one thing when you get on a good cat bite, we're talking stellar action. This one here is starting to get to that size where she's actually starting to lose the spots. Look at that. A couple of years, he's going to be Mr. Big Head. Here, we're going to get her back in the drink here. Give me a buddy. There he is.
Got him that time.
Yeah. Yeah. Ooh, there's a good one.
Size?
Yeah, there's a little bit better one there, I think. Boy, you see him just tearing around through the through the wood down there. Yeah, there you go. Ooh.
Nice.
Come here, little. Come here, you little runt, you. Come on. There, what? There you go. Thank you.
Nice. Greenie.
Yep. The interesting thing you'll notice is we were back to that repositioning correctly on a log jam. It's termed log jam logic. Look at that guy there. Beautiful channel cats. One of North America's absolute favorite game fish. The interesting thing is, up here in the North Country, very few people, unfortunately, take advantage of it. We'll get her back in the water. Beautiful, beautiful fish.
There are few things more interesting for Nick and I than exploring new water for catfish. This can be fishing new stretches of a well-known catfish river like the Red River on the North Dakota-Minnesota border. Chances there for catching channel catfish pushing 20 pounds is quite high. But even on smaller rivers like the Ottertail River, where channel cats may top out in the 10 to 12 pound range, but the action is hot and heavy and the scenery is just incredible. Or trying new techniques like the spinner rigs we use below a dam on the Mississippi River, we found it to be a great method for fishing in heavy current. Or the anchor-free method we're using here on the upper Mississippi River. It's fast and effective for covering lots of water, which is critical to find fish quickly. Each new stretch of a river we fish and new technique we use is a learning experience, and that's what makes catfishing so much fun.
Wow, look at
Whoa,
that leaping
careful.
cats. Ever seen that?
Wow.
Nick, you ever seen that before? I've never. He's leaping. He thinks he's a smallmouth.
I think it's a good sign.
What was that all about?
I would have to say that this is probably a netter.
It's
It's an impressive feat.
Yeah, it is. Come here, buddy. Whoa.
There you go.
There you go. Ooh, look at that guy there.
Ooh.
Now you're
Nice.
talking. Yeah.
Wow.
No question about it. It seems like the activity level is getting quite a bit better. How many fish have we boated today?
Let's say we're at least 30 today.
Not too bad.
Solid day.
Beautiful fall afternoon, and the thing is, it's only going to get better as the water gets colder. Northern cats, you definitely got to take advantage of them.
Thanks for joining us. If you'd like more information, check out lundboats.com or these other online outlets.